Sports fans, we know you've seen Point 3's awesome basketball gear in our encore demos before, and for a limited time, you can order special edition Bball Breakdown shorts. These shorts guarantee to keep your hands dry all game long with their way cool moisture control panels, and when you show up on the court repping Bball Breakdown, your defender will get out of your way. Don't forget, this is for a limited time only, so get yours before they're all gone. The Cavaliers started the season with so much promise, with LeBron coming home to join All-Stars Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love to form a new Big Three that would terrorize the East. However, that has not been the case, as Cleveland has struggled out of the gate with a very mediocre 6-7 record, with one quality win over a team that played without Derrick Rose down the stretch. Overall, they're ranked 7th on offense, which is great, just less than everyone's expectations. That said, drilling down further, we see that while their transition offense leads the league, as it should with Kyrie and LeBron leading the fast break, their half-court offense is ranked 23rd. And it's here where there are glaring issues. Coach David Blatt's offense can be termed many things, and we can argue over how complicated it is to professionals at the NBA level. But one simple thing it does demand is that players must cut hard after making a pass. Early on, we see quite a bit of standing around by multiple players on many offensive possessions, making it easier on the defense to defend. In a strange quirk of advanced stats, they are ranked first in transition, fast break more than all but 4 teams, yet their pace is only ranked 16th. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what's happening, but the eye test tells me that they're taking way too much time to get into sets, and when they run them, the action is way too slow to materialize. Let's bring in Coach Gibb of Half Court Hoops to give us some deeper insight, as he has watched every minute of every Cavaliers game thus far. So, Coach Gibb, you have been watching all the Cleveland Cavaliers games, if I'm not mistaken, and let's dive right into it. What are you seeing offensively that are some issues here that they need to iron out pretty quick?
Yeah, offensively, they seem to be struggling with a couple things. First is spacing, with Kevin Love and Anderson Varejao on the court at the same time, specifically as starters. Kevin Love seems to migrate more towards the post, whereas in Bosh and Miami would migrate more towards the corner, allowing Wade and LeBron that attacking and driving space, which I don't know if it's by design or if it's by him just kind of floating around in the offense. Blatt runs some good stuff and some not so good stuff. I think because they're so new to the offense, they kind of fall back into a isolation or default back to what they know, which is attack, especially Kyrie and Dion. Kyrie is a talented player, but at times he's almost too focused on scoring.
Interesting, because when LeBron played with the Heat, they never had an issue. They never had a scoring point guard like that at all. And I found it, definitely they seem to be struggling to coexist. Although, does it remind you at all of Wade and LeBron in the beginning?
In the beginning, yeah, but not as much because Bosh was able to adjust to his kind of role a little bit easier. I think Kevin Love is, because Bosh was almost the main big at all times. He was able to float in and out and be able to kind of walk his defender down into the post, whereas Kevin Love is more of off a pick and roll or off kind of just a straight screen into a post up. And then you have Anderson Varejao, who he can hit the 12, 15 footer pretty well, but he's not the same floor spacer Bosh was. So it is similar to that, but I think it's way more complicated because the personnel Cleveland has is way different as far as shooters are concerned. So they don't have a lot of shooters. Kyrie is still kind of learning how to shoot off the ball. Dion's struggling to shoot off the ball. They don't have the kind of floor spacing that Miami had. So when Love is posting up or LeBron is posting up, they're still trying to work out where they're going to be, how they're rotating off of it, how the defense is helping, and things like that.
And certainly you can't say that Love is not getting opportunities to post up. He is almost on the same pace he was last year with Minnesota. And so, and there was a moment there in the last game I watched that they went to him like 3-4 plays in a row, and it looked good. Like, that was a good look for Cleveland. I thought they could really do some damage that way. What about playing together? It seems like guys like Love should probably get some more opportunities on the court without LeBron playing.
I agree. The rotations are a little off, if you ask me. Blatt, I think he's just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. At times, you'll see either just Kyrie on the floor or just Kevin Love on the floor or just LeBron on the floor with the second unit, whereas he could take out LeBron, sit him 4 minutes, have Kyrie and Love be the main guys, and then even just take out and have Love be the main guy with Dion in there. You can do a lot of things, and I think his rotations aren't as fluid as they could be, which will come in time. I think he'll figure it out.
Let's look at some individuals to find out who's not performing. One thing that jumps out right away is LeBron's finishing at the rim. Over the previous 4 seasons, he shot a ridiculous 70% or higher in the restricted area, while this year, he's down to 60%. It's apparent right away that something is off with him, whether it's physically or just concentration, but he seems to be affected by defensive pressure much more than he ever has been in the past, and it's leading to quite a few head-scratching misses. The spot up has also been a problem for the Cavaliers, which is worrisome since Coach Blatt's offense is predicated on ball movement to allow players to attack the closeout. Kevin Love has been getting plenty of spot ups. In fact, he is on pace to get the exact same amount as he did last year as the star in Minnesota. Unfortunately, he's just been almost exactly average after ranking in the 74th percentile last year. These are generally good looks that you have to imagine will start to fall eventually. While Kevin Love might get back to his norm spotting up, Dion Waiters has been downright awful. He gets the second most on the team, yet he's struggling mightily to finish. He can't get on track in this offense from either mid-range or three-point land, and the Cavaliers' fortunes would probably be different if he could at least perform at average levels. His jump shot mechanics are flawed as he kicks his legs back then forward on almost every jump shot. This affects balance, and unless this is corrected, I'd be surprised if he ever gets above average shooting numbers. It's safe to say he's a bad fit and would probably be better off on a different team. As a result, teammates are ignoring him when he's open, which might lead to him ignoring other teammates when they're open, and his shot selection overall tends to be the not so great side of things, making matters even worse. On a team with LeBron James and Kevin Love, I would think they'd post up more than they have been, ranking around average in percentage of possessions they get the ball down low. Kevin Love is getting plenty of post-ups though, only half a post-up per game less than last year, and is very effective down there. LeBron, on the other hand, has been much worse than his career numbers at posting up. In the past, LeBron has traditionally been excellent at finishing his isolation plays, but this year, he seems to lack explosion and is more willing to jump away from the basket for tougher shots and/or bail out the defense with long contested threes. This must improve for the Cavaliers to have any chance. While the offense will eventually improve as the players get more comfortable, it's the defense that has been much more troubling. They rank 19th in the league overall, and most of their main categories are all below average.
It's a real problem because the backside, weak side rotations aren't there. I mean, there's times where the defenders are just caught flat-footed, and you at least have to contest or, make it look like you're going to try to do something at the rim, and guys are just walking in for layups too easy.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of a good offense like the Spurs is that they'll get that good shooter on the weak side, so it's hard to bump off and help, and they'll get the two guys like Parker and Duncan in the pick and roll, but they'll do it after 3 passes and a swing. So it's not like, Cleveland could be like, okay, remember guys, we practiced this and, we're all set to go. No, they're going to be half running and sprinting to catch up before it even starts. And that's just a craziness that I don't know, because in my mind, you could fix that in about 2 or 3 practices of drilling. In theory, you should be able to fix how you hedge and how the guard is going to get through that. I don't see a lot of turning and running being the main thing here. I see a lot of guys sort of like half sliding and half just kind of jogging in there. And if you're going to high hedge like that and get the big man so far out to help on that ball, you got to have guards that are going to sprint. And that's a real question that I don't know if Coach Blatt's going to get that this year either.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing that I don't think necessarily a lot of people are talking about that I've seen is live ball turnovers and missed shots are creating easy opportunities for the other team to just run down. It seems when the Cavs make a shot, their defense is actually pretty solid setting up because they can set it up. They can be able to handle the initial action. But what happens is in transition, we've got a couple of things shown here that Damian Lillard just came down in transition, ran a simple pick and roll, and just pitch it in the middle for a layup. I mean, Graves Vasquez did the same thing a couple times. I think back-to-back possessions. He went in for a layup. Next time, dropped it off to the roll man. And those will go down with the new offense. Once they figure that out, they can be able to kind of eliminate some of those turnovers and some of those opportunities and be able to kind of cut down on easy baskets. But one of the things they're not doing is they're not creating turnovers. So when you're turning the ball over a lot and then not creating turnovers and not giving yourself easy buckets, it just makes it, it's almost compounding on bad.
Since pick and roll is the main mode of attack by all NBA teams, we focus on how they're defending this action. We charted every basket made by their opponent in the pick and roll ball handler category per synergy, and Kevin Love is involved in defending the screener in twice as many scores as anybody else on the team. He just doesn't seem to have the ability to put pressure on the ball handler, nor is he great with his position to contain the ball handler long enough for the guard to get back. Kyrie Irving was not far behind him as he continually gets stuck behind screens and doesn't always hustle back to get into play. Here's an example of decent effort, but in the end tries to reach around to steal it. This simply isn't happening against a good NBA guard, and it gives up an easy bucket. And he has a distinct lack of effort, likes to stand straight up and down, and it won't get it done at the deepest position in the league. As the season wears on, you can bet you'll see a whole lot more pick and roll with Kyrie and Love, and that could be pretty frightening. The Cavs are old school in their method of defending the screen and roll with a high hedge, and it continually gets their bigs out of position and running into the guards when trying to regain position. In addition, they are ranked 25th in opponent field goal percentage. While they are okay at defending the three-pointer, it's the mid-range that has killed them. Part of it is the way they're defending the pick and roll, with the guards not getting around fast enough to pressure the shots. LeBron has also been testy with his teammates, shouting at them, then curiously non-aggressive and passing up shots. While he may be testing them, this group might be too young and inexperienced to handle this well. Plus, when his effort is suspect on many plays, it's not a good look for him. So, will the offense begin to shape up and start knocking down shots? I'm sure they will, since there is simply too much talent on that end of the floor to hold down for a whole season. But the defensive issues we talked about might not get solved this year, and if they can't get within earshot of the top 10 in defensive ranking, they'll have no hope of getting out of the East.